Hello everyone, my name is Grace. Today, Girl Scouts Heart of Michigan would like to take a moment to honor those who've fallen for their valor. Unlike Veterans Day, on which we celebrate the men and women who have served or are serving in the military, Memorial Day honors those who lost their lives serving in our country. As things stand, 1.1 million members of the armed services have made this ultimate sacrifice. One way you can bring an awareness to Memorial Day is collect stories of military veterans who are still with us. The Veterans History Project collects, preserves, and shares the personal accounts of American war veterans. Another way you can get outdoors and honor is by visiting a veteran cemetery to place flowers, flags, or pennies by their headstones. According to the legend, the coin on the grave makers of America's military veterans, leaving a coin on the headstone lets loved ones of the deceased soldier's family know someone has come to visit the grave. A nickel left at the grave means that you trained at boot camp with the deceased serviceman, while a dime suggests you served with him or her. Finally, a quarter signifies if the previous visitors were with the soldier when they passed away. It really is a particular way to show up and honor the fallen comrades' gravesite on Memorial Day or any other time of the year. No one wants to be forgotten. Honor those who laid down their lives for our country means we haven't forgotten them or we never will. On this upcoming long weekend, consider what Memorial Day really represents. Now, Miss Jacqueline would like to share with you her grandpa's story.
Hello, I am Jacqueline. I am a program and product specialist with Girl Scouts Heart of Michigan. And since we're coming up on Memorial Day, I wanted to sit down with my grandpa, who is a veteran, and ask him a few questions. Does that sound good, Grandpa? Sound good?
Sounds very good.
Okay. So first question is, what military branch were you in?
I was in the United States Navy from 1951 to 1955 during the Korean era.
You were in the Korean War?
Yes, the Korean War was in full force. On June 1950, North Korea, the communist North Korea, invaded South Korea and attempted to take over the country. And South Korea, being an ally of the United States, the United States had to do something to prevent this from happening. Subsequently, many American soldiers prior to entering into the service were drafted, and many were killed and maimed during that period of time. Anything else?
No, I think that's a good brief history. So my second question for you is, what was your job while you were in the Navy?
My particular position in the Navy was the operations department of the ship. It was called the communications department, radio shack, and my position was a Morse code operator, conversing with shore bases and ships at sea.
So you were listening to the radio and doing the Morse code?
Yes. The Morse code is a code that, since World War II, was put in place to be able to communicate in a method where others had more difficulty interpreting it.
I have another question, and is, why did you enlist?
we enlisted because we had an obligation to defend South Korea from the invasion of North Korea in June of 1950. I graduated from Saigon High School in 1950, and the war was in full force. And young graduates either had the choice of enlisted in the service or being drafted. I chose enlisting in the United States Navy for a period of 4 years. I served on the aircraft carrier USS Tarawa, an Essex-class carrier, for the entire period of time. And my position was a Morse code operator in the radio shack, conveying and receiving messages from around the world and all the ships at sea that was in our fleet.
All right. And then, do you have any interesting story from your time in the service?
Some of the interesting things every serviceman has, whatever branch of service he's in, is the camaraderie he has with the other servicemen who are from all walks of life and all places in the nation. And it's comical to talk to the different servicemen that are from the south and from the north and from the east and from the west, and their accents are all different from one another. And a lot of fun that servicemen have teasing one another and making jokes with one another takes place almost every single week or day of the week. And I remember one time, every serviceman has a watch duty during the 24-hour period, and they're scheduled to either have 2 or 4 hours watches, or sometimes, in our particular instance, we had 7-hour watches, and we'd have to have the person relieve us so that we could go back to our division and get some sleep. And I remember one time that we were waiting for the person to relieve me from watch, and he never showed up. And I said, well, I'm going to go see if he's still in his bunk. And he was still in his bunk sleeping, and so I took a glass of water and I poured it right over the top of his head. And then I ran really fast. Ran really fast back to the radio shack and pretend nothing happened.
Did he know it was you?
No.
Did you ever figure it out?
Never did find out.
That's funny. Yeah, one of your lifelong friends you met during your time in the Navy, right?
Oh, yeah. I established a good relationship with Walt Terry from New Jersey. We went one weekend and I stayed at his house. And to this day, which is 60 some years later, we still communicate on the computer, and we send each other Christmas cards, and they've been to my cottage, and we've never ever gone there, which I regret that we've never done that, even though we're invited. But they were here and visited us twice.
Yeah, maybe he'll see this video. Hi, Walter. All right, Grandpa, what do you think Girl Scouts can do to honor our veterans on Memorial Day?
That's a good question, Jacqueline. I think that Girl Scouts, as well as everybody, when they see a veteran walking down the street or in the store or wherever they may be, they can just go up to that veteran and say, thank you for your service. And in other instances, they can visit veterans who are lonely and in the hospital or in a nursing home, and they can either write to a certain veteran and get addresses to send them tokens of their appreciation.
Like Girl Scout cookies?
Like Girl Scout cookies.
Grandpa, I have one last question, and that is, how are you celebrating Memorial Day?
Well, it's interesting, Jacqueline, as you asked that question. Coincidentally, I have a poem that I have written a few years ago, and it's called Thank a Vet. Have you ever reflected upon why Americans have liberty, able to move around and be free, not being confronted in the street or in the car to produce documents to show who you are? Since the American Revolution, wars have been fought to preserve our liberty from adversity. Thank a vet. In doing so, many have died, were wounded and maimed. Vets knew the sacrifices they made was not in vain. Thank a vet. Our liberty and freedom continues this day because those men and women that served made it that way. Thank a vet this weekend.
Well, thank you, Grandpa. Thank you for your service. Thank you for being a great grandpa. And I'm so glad I got to sit down and talk with you about your time in the Navy.
Hi, I'm Emily from Troop 50303. This Memorial Day, I want to thank the veterans for all their hard work in keeping us safe.
Hi, I'm Mariah from Troop 50303. Thank you for your service.